Hi, beautiful beings. My name is Judith Molnar and I work as a conversational therapist in Sweden and a spiritual coach. Today I'm going to talk about, do you have a mindset of love or fear? And in my first video, I talked about that we all are co-creator of what is happening in the world today. And if you haven't listened to that video before, I would recommend you to do it so you will get the message here much better. And the name of that video is called The Big Illusion. So, the two most creating states of mind are love and fear. And you can't feel love and fear at the same time. You either feel love in your hearts, it will be a warm sensation in your heart, or when you feel fear, it will be a really uncomfortable feeling in your stomach. And fear has a very low vibration, and in the frequency scale, it's between 20 to 199 hertz. And you can see it here on a very good picture of what is happening from on the left corner. Here you have the frequency of 20 up to over 1,000. But when you're in a state of fear, you will be between 20 to 199 hertz. And I will come back to this picture very soon. And hertz is the same, it means beats per second. Dr. David Hawkins, he was a professor who was interested in philosophy, science, mathematics, economics, childhood science education, and ethic. And what I loved about this man, that is, here's a picture of him. What I loved about this man was that he described different emotion frequencies in a beautiful map of consciousness. Unfortunately, he's not alive anymore, but we have a very big gift from him in this scale. This is he had created. So when the frequency is low in the body, it's between 220 and 199, you will be in a very bad feeling in your body. Because if you look at on the left side of the scale, you can see here the frequency of 20 hertz, you feel shame. And when you start to raise your frequency, then you feel guilt. And then you will feel apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, and pride. And when you are in this state of low frequency, it's also called the third dimension, as I talked about in my last video, The Big Illusion. And here you can see that when you're in the third dimension, you are in a state of suffering and you have a hard time to just getting by. You don't feel good when you are here. Life in the third dimension, as I told you, is based on suffering and fear, and you will have a very solid body. You will be a very low frequency. That means you will feel bad, but you can also much easier get diseases of any kind. The third dimension is ego serving oneself. We are very occupied about ourselves. And we have actions that are based on fear, and we have a very conditional love. That means that people have to behave or treat you in a certain way that you will accept them and say that you love them, or at least like them. Third dimensional life is like we're judging ourselves a lot and others. Our lives are a lot about competition and failure, and we do a lot of self-justification. That means that I will have a lot of self-justification. That means that I will do excuses for myself for my bad behavior, or I will blame others. It's their fault. You are the most important human. And your word is governed by fear. You will have a very hard time to trust somebody else. You will have a state of mind of fencing or flying. And you will have a lot of mindset of materialistic things. And you need a lot of security to feel safe. And you need to control the surrounding a lot. And emotionally, you will be stuck in the past or in the future. And when you are stuck in the past, you will have a lot of feelings of depression. Or if you are stuck in the future, you will have a lot of feelings of anxiety. And you can actually go up and down between the past and the future. So you can both have feelings of depression and the future. But you're very seldom here and now. And you will also have a reactive state. That means that you will react of how other people behave to you instead that you are ruling your life. You will be an easy target for those who want to control you. As I talked about in my last video, I talked about the energy vampires who like to control you. So to feel good about yourself and having a good life, you need to raise your frequencies. The first step is to be brave. It is the first step to change your life for the better. When you're brave, it means you have to have courage. And when I am working with my clients, we discuss this conscious map. And we talk a lot about fear that had a frequency of 100 Hertz and courage that have 200 Hertz. And I often ask my clients, what is the difference between fear and courage? Some of them can talk about it very easy, but a lot of time I have to explain it. Because courage, most people think you're just brave, you dare to do anything. And that is wrong. Real courage is about I do things even when I'm afraid. But the new things I like to create or like to change in my life is higher than my fear. And that's when you get courage and you're being brave. To be brave and have courage, you're raising your frequencies to about 200 to 400 Hertz. As you can see in the circle here. So it starts with 200 Hertz and go up to 400 Hertz. When you're getting up to about 200 up to 400, you are stepping into the fourth dimension. And you are evolving from contraction to expansion. As you can see on the right side here, you're a very contracted person when you're living in the third dimension, and you will not feel good about yourself. You will be weak, tired, heavy. You have a hard time to look for the future. It's more about just surviving. But when you raise your frequency, you will feel expanded. You will be more open to life. You like to evolve. You're curious. You dare to do things you haven't done before. You will need to be courage to step out from your comfort zone and to heal your wounds. Because healing your wounds are very important to erase your frequency. Everyone has wounds because we are living in a hostile world. We are controlled by the 1% who are wealthiest being on the earth. They know that the world is changing, as I talked about in my last video, and that we will step into the fifth dimension in the near future. The ones who are ruling the worlds, they know the spiritual laws very well, but they reverse it to stay superior for the other humans, because they cannot reach the fifth dimension, and I will talk about that another time, why they can't reach it. And they are doing anything to stop humanity to raise their frequencies. So they are very scared that we will get up to the fifth dimension, because the one who's ruling the world today, they have just evolved to the fourth dimension. But they will have big problems because they can't feel love, joy, peace, and enlightenment in their hearts. And they need energy from others to feel alive. That is why we are seeing crazy rules in society now. And they are turning everything upside down to make us really confused and scared. 80% of humanity has been living in the third dimension for thousands and thousands of years. And now we are reaching the golden age. And humanity is starting to awake. So we are threatening the 1% who are ruling the world. Step by step, humans are healing their wounds so they can raise the frequency to the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is a time for expansion, courage, acceptance, forgiveness, and understanding. And your body will have a lighter density, and you will start not to being so sick anymore. And you will evolve to be a spiritual being. When you have raised the fourth dimension, you are starting to make a transformation from an ego-based fear into love. You will start spiritual awakening and understand that we are more than our body. We have a higher self that is connected to the higher source, as I talked about in my first video. And you will have a conscious expansion, and you will understand much more what happens in the world, and you won't be afraid anymore. And when you're reaching the fourth dimension, you raise yourself from suffering and getting by to get more flow in your life. You start to purify yourself from negative emotion and belief system. And as I said before, you realize the body is not the self. You are much higher than that. And your body change, you get lighter and fitter and healthier. In the fourth dimension, you're entering a collective consciousness. You start to understand that we all belong together. We need to help each other. We will get stronger together. And you can start experience outside the body experiences. And when you're in the fourth dimension, the veil between the lower and the higher worlds thins out. And you will have this sensation that something is starting changing in the world for the better. When the humanity raised the frequency to the fourth dimension, the energy vampires are no longer in control because we start to be equal. That is why they started the spiritual war, is the last attempt to try to suppress humanity before we raise the fifth dimension and the golden age. So they are doing their best to suppress humanity. But they can never win because the light will always win. The light is always stronger than the dark. Darkness will only create destruction, and in the end, there will be nothing left. It will just be darkness. That is because nothing can grow in darkness. You can rest in darkness, but you can never grow. When you reach the fifth dimension, you are free, and you will feel like a child again. To raise your vibration to the fifth dimension, you need to heal your wounds and pay back your karmic debts. And I will talk about that in videos later on. You also need to live by the spiritual laws. And I will talk about that too in several videos later on. When you step into the fifth dimension, you have no ego left, and you will be in service for others, and you will love it. And your life will be based on action of love. And you will feel unconditional love to earth, to animals, to humans. And you will have a progressive attitude. You want to create, you want to have happiness, you want to do things together with other people. And you really like to self-realize yourself, to be the highest and best version of yourself. And you will have no fears anymore. Isn't that great? You can also feel there's no limit. You can do anything, you can create anything, and it will be fun, it will be exciting, it will be evolutionary. And you will have a less dense body, and you will be freer, you have no sicknesses anymore, and you are really, really the best self. And you will have a holistic focus. You will know that everything belongs to another, and if you do something wrong for somebody else, it will come back to you. So you really want everybody to be the best of themselves. Manifesting will be very quickly. Like if you think, oh, I think I want to speak to my mother, and suddenly you will hear the phone ringing, and you will have a talk with her. And you will go with the flow. It will not be resistance. You will understand that evolution means you have to get in touch with the things that is hard, but you will do it in happiness because you know you will evolve. And duality in linear time will dissolve. That means we will not talk too much about the future or the past. And that also means we'll be in here and now, so we won't have a lot of depression and anxiety anymore. And in the fifth dimension, the only available time is now. And you will not have any need for possessions or status. What I want to say here, that is a lot of even higher dimension than the fifth, but I won't talk about it. I think it's enough for humanity to evolve to the fifth dimension right now, because it's a really hard work from getting from the third to the fourth and then eventually to the fifth dimension. When you look at this scale of consciousness, when we are in the frequency between 20 and 100, we are based in the ego, and And most of the time, we think things are done to us or to me. When we're stepping up in frequency from 100 to 200, we start to have a linear mind, and we start to think that things are done by me because we have a lot of anger. We like to suppress other people. And when we rise even more, we will get into a spiritual reality. We understand that life is much more than what we see. And then we will start to think that things are done through me. And when we're coming up to frequencies up 500 above, we will have an enlightened state. And we will think that things are done as me because we know we can manifest now. So how do we do to stop to be in a state of fear? You need to stop listening to radio programs, podcasts, televisions, reading newspapers that make you scared, because that will lower your frequency. And I have a lot of clients who are reading too much and believing everything they read, and they are scared to death. That means they will feel very bad, and that will make them a very hard time to raise the frequency. And it's also very important that you stop to spend time with people that will make you feel bad. And all the things you're afraid of, and remember, everybody has fears, is a projection of your inner world. What do I mean by the inner world? Well, nothing can happen to you if you don't have it inside of yourself. Nobody can make you feel bad. They are only triggering your system. Like we say somebody, you are a problem, you are nasty, you are not nice, you are not well behaved, and whatever we say, it's actually about that we have the feelings inside of ourselves. So if you think that somebody is rude to you, you should ask yourself when you are rude to somebody. Because as long as we have the problem inside of us, it will reflect on the outside. It will mirror us our own feelings. So if you're getting a finger from somebody, ask yourself, are you making fingers to somebody else, or you do it in your mind? Ask yourself what you need from yourself to stop being rude. And most of the time is that we need much more self-love. So we will be nicer to ourselves. And when we are nicer to ourselves, we will be nice to others. You also need to ask what you need from yourself to heal your wounds. And we need a lot of self-love in different ways so we can heal ourselves. And you need to stop hanging out with people who will make you feel bad. When did you say something really nice to yourself? Because you need to start doing it if you like to feel good about yourself. We most of the times want others to say good things about us, but we need to say good things to ourselves, and then it will reflect from the outside. So then people will say good things to ourselves too. Start doing things that make you feel good about yourself. Like if you like to hang out in the nature. And the good thing about nature is already in the fifth dimension. So that's why we most of the time feel very good when we've been out. It doesn't matter if it's in the sea, in the mountains, in the forest, because it will give us energy and it will raise our frequency. So to be out in the nature is really good. You can join a group with like-minded, where you can share your thoughts and help each other, and together you will get much stronger. And I am really impressed by the truckers in Canada who have made a convoy and demonstrating about the lockdown in Canada that made the living be terrible. And actually they are making a lot of pressure of their government. And this is a revolution because a lot of countries now with truckers start to do the same thing. So it's actually a revolution for the people who like to have a good life. To stay high in your frequency, you can buy an animal or help somebody else with the animals, because a lot of animals are already in the fifth dimension. And they don't care about how you look, how much you earn, or what a status you have. If you're nice to them, they will love you unconditionally. And if nothing is fun in your life, and you feel depressed or have a lot of anxiety and you can't find joy in anything, maybe it's time for therapy in one way or another. Meditation is a very good way of raising your frequency. There are lots of free meditation online, and there are beautiful music with different frequencies which will help you feel better. Next time, I will go deeper into the third dimension because it's important to heal your wounds so you can raise your frequencies. And thank you for showing up and listening to my video. And if you liked it, give me a thumb up. And if you subscribe to my channel, you won't miss any of my videos. And if you liked it, tell others you know to listen to it, because we need a spiritual evolution so we can all raise to the fifth dimension. Thank you for today, and take care of yourself until we see each other next time. Bye!